Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel Ray and I am not the chef. And today I'm going to be talking all about cross stitch. Floss Tube is the episode each week where I talk about what I've been working on and what I've been stitching on, sometimes knitting on, and I hope that you'll sit down and join me today as I update you on my progress and what's going on. So, last week was a very busy week. The last week of the month is always a really busy week for me. If you didn't know this, I have a Patreon, and I know you probably hear it everywhere that, creators talking about their Patreon. But I also have one. You can check it out if you like. It gives you more content. I do weekly vlogs. I do live streams that are just for the people on Patreon, and I do Zoom calls as well. All the information is over on patreon.com/RachelRayCraft. That's where you can find me. The last week of the month, I do all the live streaming and the Zooming and everything. And it's a lot of fun, but it also impacts my ability to craft. So maybe I don't have as much like actual stitches put in, but I did touch a few projects and I want to share that with you today. Something before I get into crafting, a little bit of personal life just before we get started. Today marks 1 year since my grandfather's passing. Excuse me. He passed away on February 2nd of 2021. He was 82 years old, and he is very, very missed. And if my family watches this, I wish that I could be there with you today. I wish that we could get a meal together, share stories and have a bit of healing together. But until then, I suppose Skype is going to have to do. But to those of you who have lost a loved one, especially someone that was close to you, just big virtual hugs to everybody. I'm thinking of you. And be kind to yourself today. We're going to drink some coffee. It's lukewarm, and we are going to get right into the cross stitching. So let's go. Thursday was my last update for Floss Tube. Thursday and Friday I had Zoom calls. Thursday night and Friday and Thursdays I do my epic Pokemon cross stitch with everybody over on Twitch. Twitch is a live stream kind of place. A lot of gamers go there, but there's a lot of makers and crafters over there too. Cross stitchers, embroiderers, diamond painters, knitters, crocheters, like everybody's over there. And I stream over on Twitch. The times change and I post my schedule over there. You can check it out. Again, it's Rachel Ray Craft over there as well, because Rachel Ray is always taken. So I am doing Generation 1 Pokemon. This how do I put it? This pattern is available for free on Lord Libiden's website, and I have it linked in my whip list. Maybe not in my link haven, but in my whip list. Go check it out. And I am stitching this. I will get it close to the camera real quick in just a moment. But I'm stitching this on 18 count Aida that I hand dyed myself. I used one of those dial-on, like throw it into the washing machine and it dyes it. Just don't do what I do. Make sure that you serge the edges first, or whip stitch the edges first, because otherwise they get all like a ratty pair of jeans. The color is a little bit off today. How about that? It looks a lot more vibrant than it is, but let me show you up close. So here you can see my stitching. I have done the face of this bird. Maybe it's a little harder to see up close, but there is a bird coming out from the diagonal there. I am stitching this 1/1 on 18 count. I don't like to stitch 2/1 on 18 count. It feels weird to me, but you do whatever feels good to you. So I now have this bird named Zapdos, and I have this evolution named, Flareon. My poor 12-year-old brain just cringed. But anyway, I have a little crane that's on fire. He's got a fire mohawk. Super cute. I am streaming this live every Thursday because I want to raise money for a charity called Child's Play. So I'm going to talk about that for just a second. Child's Play is an organization that gives kids who are in long-term hospital care or end-of-life treatment kind of positions. They bring them gaming consoles, video games, VR games, anything that can help them to feel a little bit more happy and to get their mind off of what they're going through, right? So because this is Pokemon, and Pokemon originally was a game, it's also a TV show, but most people know it as a game. I'm using that stream to raise money, and so far we have raised over $300. So thank you so much to everybody who has donated. I really appreciate them. It means a lot to me. It's not about me, it's about the kids, but it is motivating me to continue to work on this project. So thank you very much. If you're looking for my needle minders, the Untitled Goose Game is from Tiny Pufferfish, and the Pikachu holding the fishy flags in the Japanese style is from Gwen Touch on Etsy. They're both Etsy sellers. I'm using these magnetic clips to hold all of this fabric, y'all. One day I'm going to take off the Q-snap and I'll show you. It's a lot of fabric. I find that these magnetic clips do hold, but you sometimes have to finagle them a little bit. Like with this one, I have actually tied it into a knot to make it smaller so that it'll hold this lip of fabric back for me. That's all it's there for. And this one kind of moves around as I'm moving through. Anyway, it's probably TMI, but hey, some people want to know. It is a little bit more cornflower blue than the camera is showing, but we are dealing with what we are dealing with today. We are back to the typical Irish weather, which is overcast. Very overcast. Luckily, it's not raining or storming or too windy, because that's a thing too. And it can be a little bit depressing, to be honest. All right, next up. That was, oh my goodness, I hit a button. Okay, don't hit buttons. Coffee. I get excited when I talk about crafts. Thursday night and Friday, I was Zooming with my friends over on the Zoomy tier of my Patreon, and I finally found my cryptid stitch along. This went missing for a few weeks since my whip parade, and I finally found it. It was shoved. Do you see that? That cubby right there. It was all the way in the back of the cubby, not between two projects, you know, like this, but it was like way in the back of it. Is that? Forgive me in the dog hair. If you know, you know that this one sheds a lot. Okay, so I found my cryptid stitch along. The cryptid Sal, S-A-L. Oh, speaking of Sal, the Pokemon one is Gotta Catch 'em All Sal. Hashtag Gotta Catch 'em All Sal. You're welcome to join me if you like. I'm the one that started that Sal. But you know, anybody is welcome. Please join. Please show me all your Pokemons. It doesn't have to be that pattern. It could be any pattern. I just enjoy seeing everybody's progress. So keep sharing on Instagram. Please. All right, next up. Like I said, cryptid stitch along. Found it. Zoom calls. Got lots of progress in. You're not going to believe this. So it's been a while since I took it out of the Q-snap as well. The cryptid stitch along is by the Witchy Stitcher. Oh, wow. That color is way wrong. Okay. Hold, please. Okay, it's a little better. Can you? I don't even see a difference. Okay. Ta-da! This is by the Witchy Stitcher. WitchyStitcher.com. This is a stitch along from Halloween of last year until just now. She just released the last block of the cryptids stitch along. And I got 2 done. I got Hopkins Goblin and Frogman completed. So I'm going to bring them closer to you. Can I always have to stand up because I can't see my computer screen. And the color's washed out. Okay, well, this is, I'll tell you about the fabric in just a minute. But do you see something up? with the Hopkins Goblin. Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? I think Pippa Brown pointed it out, but the Hopkins Goblin has nips. It's pretty funny. And my cute little frogman, love him. He's so grumpy and chubby. I love him so much. That is going to be like my mascot this year. So I managed to finish those two. I think, hang on, it was the 31st, so 3 days ago would have been Sunday. Okay, so I finished Frogman on Sunday, and then I put this piece down. But yeah, it was super cute. Really enjoy it. Highly recommend doing that border first. That's most of the pattern, to be honest. And if you haven't seen it, my friend Jessie Mislaid Pages is stitching each one individually, which I think is cute, and making a book, kind of a book out of it. Oh, I didn't talk about it, of course. This is, of course, my needle minders are kissing now. Let go. Stand back. This beautiful piece of fabric that you can now see the absolute majesty of is 16 Count Ada by Bee Stitch Me in the colorway Dreamsicle. Isn't it gorgeous? I love it. But I have to say that as someone who is not into oranges, I find that after a while I get really burnt out from looking at that color. And it's probably no surprise to any of you that have been here for a while that I fall into the neurodivergent category, and things like that really matter to me. So sometimes I have to put this away and not pick it up for a while, and that's why I haven't kept up with it, I'm sure. It's not the monogamous black, because that monotone, all one color thing, I love it. I absolutely adore it. It is so fun, as you could tell from the project last week. But Sunday was also the 31st, right? Do I have the right date? No, Monday. Monday was the 31st. Where am I? Monday was the 31st, and on the 13th and the 31st of every month, I am participating this year in a little kind of stitch along called Dark 13, where you stitch on something that is Halloween themed or dark or gothic or, you know, spooky, dark. This came from Eclectic Possessions, and gosh, I wrote it down. See, this is the thing. I apologize in advance, and it's absolutely not my intention to be rude or to forget these things, but sometimes I just forget names. Cozy Egg, Michelle Cozy Egg. That's it. It was in my brain, but it wasn't sticking. Pretty sure that this stitch along idea came from them, but I could be wrong, and I am willing to be corrected. Please correct me if I am wrong. However, I love a good stitch along. I like to do things with other people, and I especially like things that I don't have to start new projects for this year. And so I pulled out Midnight Way. Move this over here. Midnight Way by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Oh my gosh, my hair. Here we go. Now, is it going to focus? I don't know why it doesn't want to focus. However, isn't it just the cutest? Can't you can see the ghost now, right? There's going to be like a house, or like this bookshop is extending beyond the ghost, so it'll pop out more in a little while, but right now it doesn't want to show. There we go. That's kind of better. So what I did since the last time that I shared this, because I don't have a photo, I'm really bad at that, is that I filled in this book, these curtains, anything that was that yellow color there, right? And then I filled in the rest of the ghost and put in a face. It's so cute. So this is what I worked on Monday. Sunday was brunch. I feel like I did something else Sunday. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Sunday is now brunch until summertime, brunch with family. So I don't really get a lot of stitching in. I played Animal Crossing for ages. I love it. It is so adorable. I love Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery patterns. So check them out, thefrostedpumpkinstitchery.com. And this is called Midnight Way. It is on a 28 count Whimsy by Picture This Plus. I bought the kit. They have kits for their stitch alongs. And I bought the kit. This was before the whole like shipping tariff VAT fiasco that started last year. Because now I can't afford that kind of stuff. But super cute little ghosty is done. No more white. No more white. I don't like block stitching white because I feel like you can really see the unevenness of my stitching. I try really hard to get my stitches to be equal, but sometimes they're not, and it really shows on this one, unfortunately. So anyway, I do really like the ghosty. It is so cute. I feel like you could see it better when it's darker. And if you're wondering, okay, I get a lot of questions about this, so I'm going to go ahead and answer. Why do I do this? This is so that, well, first of all, I use a lap stand, and my lap stand clamps to the side of the project instead of the top like other floor stands and stuff might clamp to the top. My lap stand clamps to the side, and I find that if I don't have a lot of border here, then using a piece of felt, this is just off of a big roll of felt, nothing fancy. The big roll cost me like €5 maybe at the craft store. Putting a piece of felt here makes the Q-snap or whatever framing thingy, PVC pipe you're using, it makes it grip it a lot tighter, and it's less likely to slide like this. So I'll answer the other question in just a second. But if you can see the back, which it's a little messy, but hey, whatever. If you don't have the felt, this can curl, right? You can see how it's all loosey-goosey. And if I don't put the felt, it'll constantly do that just under the pressure of being under the lap stand. The other question is, why do I stitch in the ditch? Or why do I stitch in the well? It took me a little while at first to get used to stitching this way, but I much prefer this now because I was taught to stitch this way, right? With the fabric flat here. And all was fine and good until I would get to an edge. And then trying to come back here, move my fabric, and put the thread underneath other stitches to end the threads was very difficult. So I just flipped it around. I watched other people who did this, and I asked them the same question, and they answered it for me, and that is just where I went from there. It is much easier for me to hold back excess fabric on the front instead of possibly stitching into that fabric on the back by accident. And it's so much easier to end a thread, even if you're working all the way next to the Q-snap. It's so much easier to just go, okay, whoop, you know what I mean? So that's why I do that. Other people might have their reasons for doing it, but that's why I stitch like this. So yes, I'm gonna have to take that off the Q-snap. But anyway, that is my progress, and I'm really happy with that progress. I know it's not a lot. I think it was probably 300 stitches, but that was one day, And it wasn't for very long because I wanted to finish Frogman first. And so, yeah. Now, that was Monday. Yesterday, the 1st. February 1st. I have not had a new start since the 2nd of December, and that was my Pokemon. I have been saving up for this new start for a very long time. I gotta pick off some dog hairs because this is the curse. This is the curse of having a dog that sheds. This is my long-awaited new start, very, very special project called the Japanese Zen Moss Garden. Doesn't look like anything because that is $9.39 on black fabric. This is black 28 count Jobelin from Zweigart. That is washi tape. You are not seeing incorrectly. I was trying to have a temporary solution to a big problem, which is that the edges are clearly not serged, and I have a sewing machine, but I do not know how to use it. It's an old one, so I've got to hand stitch the edges on this, and I'm not looking forward to it. However, I went on stream on Twitch yesterday, Tuesday, and I spent, 4.5 hours, almost 5 hours stitching. And I managed to get about half of the center mandala finished, and I moved over. I asked my watchers if they wanted me to continue in the 939 or if I should move into a different color, and they suggested a different color. I'm glad they did because it's much easier to see those stitches. This is a Dinky Dye silk. It's very, very nice to stitch with. I love Dinky Dyes. They are so nice. And this is the color, I think this is Wallaby. Or no. Cuts. Anyway, whatever. This is like the sand of the Zen garden. So this is a pond, the center of a pond, and then there are sandy bits on the four corners, and there's a rock. You know, like you would walk into a Japanese Zen garden and they would rake the sand into beautiful patterns around these rocks. That's what's happening here. So I finished it. I did have to frog twice because I was miscounting at night. I have to work on this in bright light. I tried to work on it in the dark. It's very, very difficult. Very, very straining on the eyes. However, I'm loving it, obviously. The other thing that I noticed is that I forgot to order the treasure braid and the silk lame. I'm probably saying that wrong. But there were two types of floss, like several colors in two different types of floss that Jessie was unable to procure. And I had totally forgotten about because I have the memory of a gnat. If you know me, you know that I'm really sorry. I forget everything. I try not to, but I do. And most of the colors that are happening inside here, there's a big old bead that goes there. There are beads everywhere in here, but there's treasure braid, like 3 colors of treasure braid in there that I don't have. And then there are silk lames in other parts. So I had to go on to Casa Sanina's website and order those. And when I was there, this is haul. And when I was there, I also threw in a pattern because you can't let things travel by themselves, right? So I spent another chunk of money on flosses for this project. In total, this project has cost me, people do ask, several $100s is what it costs to kit up one of these, which is why this is going to be the only one I have, and this is going to be super treasured. Like this is, I already told James, This project, I don't care about my other cross stitch, but this project and my Heaven and Earth Design Soul of the Rose, these two things, they're either going to be passed down to my children, donated to a museum, like a stitching museum, or they're going to be buried with me for the money that I spent and the time that will have to be spent on these projects. But anyway, what do you think? I think it's really nice. The fabric looks blue because it's being filmed, but if you were here with your own eyeballs, you would see that it's black. 100% black. So it is gorgeous though, and I'm really looking forward to keep working on this. If you're wondering, I have to keep it in a pillowcase. No fancy project bags for this particular thing because it's too big. It's going to stay on its frame and it's just going to live in a pillowcase. So that's that. That's the whips. That's the haul and, well, the future haul. I have no plans except if we talk about WhipGo, which I think I have the picture still here. I do. Look at me being all organized. As you can see, 500, there. 500 stitches on dark fabric and 500 stitches on something that gives you life right now. I've had both of those goals. My WhipGo for February, I'm considering that complete because I have stitched over 500 stitches, or I will have. Have I stopped? I'm not sure actually. I haven't counted, but I will. I'm on the way. If I'm not there, I'm on the way. It will not be a problem. WhipGo is not a problem this year. However, I would like to touch a Long Dog sampler this week because I'm doing the Long Dog Along, hashtag Long Dog Along, or you can check out the Facebook group, Long Dog Stitcher Sal. It's a private group. There's a link down there. You can join. But basically, a bunch of friends are just sharing their progress on their Long Dog samplers, and they want to get as much work done on them as possible this year. And I'm joining in on that, so I'd like to spend some time on a Long Dog in the next week and just keep working on this chatelaine. Today is the 2nd, which means that the next time that I film, it'll be the 9th. Are you getting ready? Are you getting wound up for Valentine's Day? I am not a Valentine's Day person. I like chocolate, but I'm not like big on that holiday, mostly because my birthday is the 22nd. So like, you know, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal to me. I did see that D's 20 Stitches and Uncanny Kari have made a stitch that says "Eat Your Heart Out," and it's a vampire, and it's so cute. I like it a lot, but I'm not much for the Valentine stitching, but there are special things coming from D and Kari in the future. And what else is going on? I feel like I'm missing something, and there's noises being had. I'll mention it here as well. I mentioned it on yesterday's video, but I want to mention it here too. My friend Mrs. Coffee is doing POC, hashtag POC, Person of Color, for Black History, and asking crafters to work on something. You don't have to start something new, but to work on something and use the hashtag so that we can show off works of craftiness that showcase people of color. And if you don't have a project that has a person of color as that is really distracting, I'm sorry, as the subject, you can use like a landscape that would be tied to a person of color. Okay, I'll let her explain the rules, but this is what I'm going to be working on. This is a diamond painting called Kimono by Diamond Shop, and they actually gifted this to me to share on my channel back in 2019. I think it's 2019. I don't think it was, yeah. So, she's a Japanese lady, and I know she's very light-skinned. So some people may argue that she's not a person of color. I don't know. I asked if this was okay to use, and I got the okay. I wanted to use something that I have in stash instead of starting a new project, because I'm feeling that finish all of your works in progress kind of mode, you know. I'm going with it this year. Whip the whip, slash the stash. But she is gorgeous. Look at how big she is, though. So this diamond painting, you can do whatever craft you want, but I just happen to have this one. And like I said, I didn't want to start a new one. I did think about it. I had, what is it called? Ingleside Imaginarium's piece, A Lady Named Ella. Gorgeous, beautiful, but I don't have all the flosses for it, and it's hard to find. So pulled this bad baby out. I'm going to do her for the POC, hashtag POC for Black History. Go to Mrs. Coffee's Facebook page for more information on the rules if you're interested in winning prizes. I'm just interested in working on my projects and getting them completed, because I have had a rough time and I have been using the excuse of starting new projects to deal with that instead of finishing what I already have. So clearly, look at this yarn stash. This is ridiculous. So it's okay. Crafting is a hobby and purchasing is a hobby. I'm putting purchasing aside for this year. So thank you all so much for joining me today. Thank you for spending some time with me. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below, what are you working on? What is giving you life right now? If you don't know what that means, what are you really excited about? What makes you happy? What project is screaming your name right now? I would love to know so that I can look it up and put it in my wish list. Thank you so much for being here and for cheering me up on bad days. But this year, 2022, it's our year. It's definitely our year. So with that, I'm going to let you go. Don't forget, drink some water, take your meds, stay safe, and I will see you all soon in my next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.